I'm Marci.
And I'm Noah.
We grew up watching Disney Channel, and every few months, a new Disney Channel original movie, or DCOM, would be released.
Since we were kids, we would love to get snacks and spend those evenings enjoying new and relatable movies on our favorite channel.
Well, we're not really kids anymore, but we decided we wanted to revisit our younger selves by rewatching all 110 DCOMs, and we want you to join us for the nostalgia.
So every Friday, we are sharing our thoughts and feelings on the DCOM of the week. So join us, the DCOM kids, and our discussion of the luck of the Irish. Wow, we did it.
We did it. That was like perfect timing.
I am
too.
so impressed. Now, again,
Good job.
I want to just take a moment, everyone out there listening and watching on podcast land or on YouTube's. Yes, we're reading the script.
Yes.
It's new. We just decided to do this, and we're still getting used to it.
Yes.
We hope to have it memorized by next week. And
Yes.
I'm so sorry that it doesn't look great to have us reading it, but
I'm trying to look up as much as possible.
yeah,
so.
me too. Me too. And I will break the fourth wall here a little bit and tell you guys that we just recorded that 3 times.
3 times.
And we tried not to look the first time, and it did
Yes,
not go well.
It didn't go well.
I tried not to look the second time, and it did not go
Yeah.
well. So I looked for
Yeah.
the third time, and here we are. I'm so
Here we are.
sorry, and I hope that you guys can forgive us. But it is what it is.
Until we have a teleprompter
Right?
under the camera so we can look at the camera but still read.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
They have some on Temu for like $15, but I'm not sure I'm willing to do that. But anyway,
It would
welcome.
take a couple months for it to get here.
Yeah, for real. Welcome to DCOM Kids, everybody. Today, as we mentioned in the intro, we are rewatching The Luck of the Irish. Actually, we have rewatched The Luck of the Irish. We are now going to be discussing it and
Yes.
talking about some things with it.
Yes. Some things with it.
Sometimes my brain just falls apart. I will also
Yes.
just quickly mention that I am getting over a stomach bug. And so
Yeah.
if my energy levels are
Weird.
subpar and my brain is tangenting strangely, I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm trying my best.
Yeah, he's been stuck at home for like 3 days straight. So,
It's been a long 3 days.
yeah.
But we here, and we're going to talk about The Luck of the Irish. So
Yes.
I didn't double check this ahead of time, but I'll just jump into our beginning bits.
Okay.
It was released in 2001, and it was written by Andrew Price and Mark Edward Edens.
All right. And I have to zoom in because I'm blind.
That's okay.
All right. And then our cast, we are starting with Ryan Merriman as Kyle Johnson.
Alexis Lopez, who played Bonnie Lopez.
Timothy Omundson
Yeah, I didn't know how to read that either.
played Seamus McTierney.
Something like that. And then Merida. Oh my gosh. I can't-
Girardi.
Thank you. I should have zoomed in too. Girardi played Kate O'Reilly Johnson.
Then we have Charles Halford as McDermott.
McDermott, yeah.
Okay.
Thurl Bailey played Mr. Holloway.
Henry Gibson played Riley O'Reilly.
Glendon Chapman played Russell Holloway.
Paul Kiernan played Robert Smith or Bob Johnson.
Yeah. Brett Yoder played Drake Whitney. We could probably... actually, we probably could have stopped before that.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if we really need to get into like...
There's a referee or two. There's
Yeah.
the coach.
Yeah,
All right.
I did not pay attention to where I cut that off.
That's okay.
Anyway,
All right. Did you end?
yeah, I did.
Okay. It was Master. Why can't I say this?
I don't know.
Masterfully directed by Paul Hohen.
The music, hand selected by Christopher Brady.
Shot with precision by Robert Steadman.
All tied together in a compelling story pieced together by Jim Oliver.
Ryan Merriman returns to Disney Channel from Smart House.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Why couldn't I?
I don't
say
know.
that word?
Well, okay, I
That's
saw this thing the
embarrassing.
other day, and I
Mhm.
probably should be following it more than I am.
Okay.
It's like the rules of writing or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the rules is like don't use a big word when a small word will work. And I've found myself like a number of times writing the script using large words, and I'm like, I didn't need to do that. I can make that a different, smaller word. It's fine. It doesn't need to be. I don't know.
Okay.
I just like to I like to say things like masterfully directed, and like I just like to add a little bit more story to the the director and the. I don't know.
No, I like it. It's good.
It's fun, but yeah, Ryan Merriman.
Yes.
I was like, it was so dumb because I knew that. I knew that he played Ben in Smart House, but like for some reason when I was reading the IMDb, I was like, oh, it's him.
Oh, yeah.
Like obviously.
Yeah.
Another name popped out, and I just caught it this time. I think Paul Hohen has done more with DCOMs. I think this is his second DCOM.
Okay.
It sounds familiar, but I could be wrong. But yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Let's get on into that Disney Plus summary.
You're reading it today.
Oh, I'm reading it. That's right, because you start. I knew that too, like 12 seconds ago. Yes. Kyle has always relied on his pot of gold charm to bring him extraordinary luck. But when he loses his charm, he discovers the truth about his background. He is actually part leprechaun. Now Kyle finds himself in a race against time to defeat the charismatic thief who took the charm, and before he gains control of the leprechauns... and before he gains control of the leprechauns. In the process, Kyle learns that he's capable of making his own luck.
Very cool.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to just pause really quick and quickly say
ahead.
that I think that is probably one of the best Disney Plus summaries we've gotten.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it feels like they're giving away way too much information, or like they're like, this is a story about a girl. And she has a family.
Xenon is a girl, and she lives in space.
Yes.
Enjoy the movie.
Exactly. This was one of the better ones.
Yeah.
But okay,
nice.
we can move on now.
All right. Scene by scene. We open to a dramatic montage of different faces flashing across the screen. After a couple of short moments, the voice of our lead, Kyle Johnson, narrating as we hear about the unifying trait everyone has. They all bring their own heritage. But does he? As his name is called to present next at the school's Festival of Heritage, he can't be seen by anyone due to his miniature size. He is woken by his mother, reviewing.
I was supposed to say revealing.
revealing that it had been a dream, and he confesses to his parents that he is nervous about the event at school because he doesn't know where his family is from.
Kyle asks his dad, Robert, where they are from, and Robert responds with hesitance, well, here, of course. After clarifying his question, what is their heritage, Robert doubles down, insisting they moved from Cleveland. Kyle is clearly unsatisfied with this answer, but the day goes on. As we cut to Kyle playing in the basketball game, we learn their team is the first in school history to make the state basketball playoffs, and they have their sights set on the championship. Humbly admitting the team's success is squarely thanks to him, we move to a parade of shots the next day celebrating last night's win. When approached by Bonnie, head of their Heritage Day committee, to find out what she should put on the program for his presentation. She pesters him about his heritage, but he defaults to the same answer his parents gave him. They are from Cleveland.
Completely zoned out in class, the bell rings and Kyle realizes he never started his quiz. He quickly begins checking random answers, but is confronted by the teacher who explains to him that he can't rely on luck in real life, but is then surprised when all of Kyle's answers are correct. Later at dinner, Kyle's mom, Kate, serves up a heap of something. She claims it to be something she saw in a healthy eating channel. Having thought it may have been an old family recipe, he starts nagging and pushing to get answers out of his parents as to where their family is from. No matter how hard he pushes, Kate and Robert refuse to give any information, and Kyle is now convinced, for one reason or another, they are keeping their heritage a secret. Kyle decides to take matters into his own hands and uses a computer at school to try to get the information he was looking for.
Bonnie steps in to help, but instead gives Kyle a hard time for not even knowing his mother's maiden name. He decides the best source of information must be at their house. He digs up his dad's high school yearbook, and he can't seem to find Bob Johnson anywhere. Stumbling on a folder containing his father's birth certificate, he learns his father's last name used to be Smith. He cross-checks with the yearbook, and sure enough, Bob Smith is in the yearbook. Kate arrives home, and Kyle quickly hides his findings and retreats outside to shoot hoops with his best friend Russell.
While shooting hoops with Russell, Kyle continuously making amazing baskets. When he jumps to help ensure Russell's shot makes it into the basket, his hand touches the rim, leading Russell to compliment his amazing luck. Soon after, they are walking down the street, and after another comment from Russell about Kyle's luck, he finds $10 on the sidewalk. This leads them to a flyer posted on a bus stop and recognizes the symbol on the flyer as the same symbol on his necklace his mom is constantly reminding him to wear. With the new theory that Kate is Irish, Kyle and Russell decide to go to the Luck of the Irish festival at the fairgrounds.
At the festival, Kyle and Russell question why Kyle's parents would keep the fact that he's Irish a secret. They come across a booth selling all kinds of Irish-themed knickknacks like shirts, keychains, books, and lucky coin necklaces that look just like Kyle's. While examining the fake coins, an old Irishman approaches the two and inquire about Kyle's shoes. After showing off his own shoes, I should have just read it because apparently I was thinking ahead. After showing off his own handcrafted shoes, the old man offers a bag of chips and vanishes. Just after this strange encounter, Kyle and Russell go to the stage to watch the step dancer Seamus McTiernan, the saint of the step, and his dancers. As they watch, Kyle can't help but join in. As the dancers are finishing their number, a large gentleman knocks Kyle over, and as he helps him up, places a green and white lei around his neck.
We transition to the next morning, where Kyle's alarm is ringing. As he gets out of his bed and reaches for his necklace, he accidentally knocks a trophy off his dresser, which lands on his foot. Heading downstairs, Kyle hears Kate singing, which is out of character for her. And he sees her hair is down, also out of character. He questions her on the new do, and she responds with an Irish accent completing the trifecta of odd characteristics. She finally confesses to Kyle that her family is indeed from Ireland. She prepares breakfast for Robert and Kyle, who are hesitant to eat the traditional Irish meal.
Kyle joins Russell on their walk to school and, just the same as yesterday, finds some money on the ground. But this time, instead of making off with free money, a truck drives through a puddle, splashing Kyle and causing him to drop the money he just picked up and watches it get washed down the storm drain. So begins the day of poor luck for Kyle Johnson. After arriving at the school, we dive into a montage of several more things going wrong for Kyle, including him losing his homework, his strap on his backpack ripping, a water fountain springing a leak and getting his pants wet, making it look like he urinated himself. I didn't add that part in there, but I thought I should. Oh, I did add it in there. I just said it differently. His lunch spilling out of his locker all over him, and just when he thinks his luck is turning, a classmate offers him a slice of chocolate cake. But because his hands apparently stopped working, he drops that all over himself as well.
We jump ahead to the end of basketball practice, where the coach informs the team they won't be running before their game that night, but they each need to make 10 free throws before they can go. This would usually be easy for Kyle, but after what must be at least an hour, Russell makes his last shot, but Kyle still has yet to make one. Bonnie enters the gym to talk with Kyle, but the two end up having a disagreement, ending with Bonnie making a free throw, further aggravating Kyle. Later that night, Kyle and the team are playing their semifinal game, but Kyle is not playing well at all. They win the game, no thanks to Kyle, and we head back to the Johnsons' home.
When they arrive back at home, Robert tells him to shake it off because the team is still in the finals. But given Kyle's desperation to be the best, he brushes off his dad's advice. The next morning, Kyle is once again woken by his alarm and walks to his dresser to get his necklace, but this time he is significantly shorter. He again knocks the trophy off his dresser, but instead of it landing on his foot, he quickly moves his foot out of the way and realizes his pants are way too long, when they fit perfectly the day before. He exits his room to a smoke-filled hallway where he meets Robert. The two race downstairs to see Kate cooking their breakfast over a fire in the fireplace.
Now at the school, all of the girls that used to fall head over heels for Kyle suddenly couldn't be less interested in him. We jump into science class where they are learning about magnets, and Kyle discovers his lucky coin on his necklace is magnetic, meaning it must have cobalt, iron, or nickel, and is not solid gold. This leads Kyle to discover it is not his coin. Someone must have stolen it. He tries to call home, but the payphone won't work. Out of frustration, he removes his hat, revealing his hair is turning orange. While explaining to Russell he has to get home, he realizes he is now significantly shorter than he was before. He rushes home and discovers his mother is now a foot tall, and Robert and Kate finally confess that she and Kyle are leprechauns.
We learn that the secret to their normal appearance is Kyle's lucky coin. Kyle admits he attended the Luck of the Irish fair, and Kate reveals the old man he met there is his grandfather, and he must have stolen the coin out of spite because Kate married a human. They determine to confront the old man at the potato chip factory. Once there, Kyle and Robert rush in, and we hear a security guard talking on the phone, and a tour guide, who seems annoyed, announces that a tour group has arrived. This is where we learn the truth behind Robert's name change from Smith to Johnson. It was an effort to assure Kate's dad, Riley O'Reilly, couldn't track them down and try to break them up. After a moment, the security guard is told Mr. O'Reilly doesn't have a daughter and throws Kyle and Robert out of the building.
While Robert's attempts to come up with a new plan to confront Riley, Kyle decides to sneak into the factory with the tour group that happens to be a group from his school. Once inside, Bonnie, who was originally supposed to be on the tour, discovers Kyle has snuck in. He pulls her aside to give her the lowdown and recruits her to help him find Mr. O'Reilly. But not long after, the security catches him and they spring into a chase scene throughout the factory that ends in Kyle falling down a trash chute directly in front of Mr. O'Reilly. While walking to Mr. O'Reilly's office.
I don't know what happened there, my bad.
Kyle accuses him of stealing the lucky coin, but of course, Riley is not responsible. After exchanging more family backstory, Kyle reveals his guilt that if he just hadn't cared about his heritage, his coin never would have been stolen. He thinks out loud, maybe Seamus knows what happened to the coin.
Upon hearing the name, Riley informs Kyle that Seamus was the one who stole the coin, and that's what his clan does. After Kyle encourages his mother and her estranged father to let the past be and focus on getting their luck back, they set out to find the coin by confronting Seamus and his crew. On the way, Russell sees the family at a stop sign and joins in their crusade. Once at the fairgrounds, Robert attempts to get a peek inside Seamus's RV and sees a large pot of stolen gold coins. But just then, Seamus jump scares Robert and begins a car chase that includes Seamus's goon hurling a pot of corned beef and cabbage at the O'Reillys. And one thing led to another. And one of the tires on Riley's car blows out, disabling the car, and Seamus gets away. Sorry, I had to laugh there because I don't know if you know. I'm sure you know. Mm-hmm. But for those of you whatever. There's a comedian named Brian Regan out there, okay? Yes. I love him. And he has this one bit where he's talking about a pamphlet that he got somewhere in school or something. That is like, it says something about how one thing led to another and blah blah blah. And he's like,
Yeah.
that is a lazy writing technique. Because could you imagine how fast you could write the like how World War II got started by using that?
Mhm.
And like his joke is like, Adolf Hitler was a young man who was very passionate about art and was one day rejected from art school. One thing led to another, and the United States dropped an atomic bomb on the sovereign nation of Japan.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, that's a very simple way to get
Yep.
around it. But I wrote it in
Yes.
there because like
'Cause
I've been
it's funny.
struggling so hard.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
It's
What
funny.
What else are you gonna write? In
Yeah,
there?
I'm like one thing. Yeah, it's basically
yeah.
anyway.
I mean, they start a car chase and it ends with
Yeah, the car's
corn,
disabled.
the corn. What is it?
The
Corned beef and cabbage is thrown at them, and then the tire blows up.
Yeah, exactly. It's
So.
fine. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
You're fine. All right. Feeling bad about their situation, it suddenly starts to rain, and Robert and Riley begin to argue over who's at fault for the situation. This sparked a heartfelt speech from Bonnie, who reminds everyone that the spirit of America is their luck, and you are never really out of luck until you give up. The sky suddenly clears, and they are all determined to work their way out of the pickle they are in. Russell catches sight of a rainbow, and Riley begins to run after it. As any leprechaun knows, there is always a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. And, although Russell is skeptical, sure enough, once they reach approximately the end of the rainbow, they find Seamus's RV. Kyle and Riley sneak in while the villains enjoy their
Grog.
grog and song. Sorry. Once inside, Riley breaks into the safe and Kyle instantly picks out his coin. Riley's greed begins to overcome him, and Kyle must prevent him from stealing all of the gold in the pot.
Inside the pub, Seamus feels a disturbance in the force and uses his magic to capture Riley. Attempting to free his granddad, Kyle bets Seamus that he can beat him in sports. If he can, Kyle keeps the coin and may get his granddad back. But if he can't, he must give Seamus back the coin. We jump to a field in Ireland where Kyle and Seamus
Compete.
compete in traditional Irish sports. They take turns winning events, and the series of 8 games ends in a tie between the two, and Seamus demands the coin back, as the wager was that Kyle would beat him, and tying is not beating. In a moment of desperation, Kyle makes another wager that he can beat Seamus at basketball, or he will be his slave forever. But if he wins, he gets the coin back, and Seamus must live forever in the land of his fathers and never leave the shores of Erie again. Seamus agrees, and they are suddenly teleported back to the school for the final basketball game.
Seamus and his team are now the opposing team, but appear to everyone else as middle schoolers. The beginning looks grim, with Seamus scoring several baskets back to back. That is until Riley gives Russell... I keep wanting to say Ruckle. I'm so sorry. Until Riley gives Russell a lucky coin of his own that he insists will only work for him. This sparks a new level of confidence in Russell, and he begins playing better than ever, and he goes on to score. He then fouls Seamus, resulting in Seamus getting to take 2 free throws, allowing Kyle to confront Riley about the fake coin. But Riley informs him the luck doesn't matter. It's all about confidence. Kyle takes this sentiment to heart and begins playing as if he never lost his lucky coin. And in a matter of 60 seconds, Kyle and Russell's team are within 1 point of Seamus and his team. When Seamus attacks Kyle, who is about to make the game-winning shot, Kyle throws the ball to Russell, who makes a miraculous 3-point shot to win the game.
Something I should have written in there is that in those 60 seconds, they go from 64 to 72.
Yeah.
To, what is it, 70?
It's like 70...
72 to 74 because
Yeah.
he gets another, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Like literally like in 60 seconds they score like 10 points.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck?
Which is like 5 normal baskets.
Yeah, it's wild. Anyway.
Like, that's Also,
But I also noticed
middle
there's several occasions where they definitely made 3-point shots, but the scoreboard only goes up by 2. And I'm like, they should have been catching up a lot faster and a lot sooner. Whatever. Anywho. The gym is suddenly emptied. Clearly defeated, Seamus admits that it isn't over because he still has a large pot of gold in his RV and a ton more in a secret place in Ireland. So his dream of becoming king of Ireland is still alive. And since the wager banishes him to the shores of what does he say?
Erie.
No, that's what it actually is, but he keeps saying of
Ire.
Yeah. Erie. That's what he said.
Erie.
Yeah. He can still have his revenge on the Clan O'Reilly. At this point, Kyle informs him his father is from Cleveland, not Ireland. Seamus gasps and shrinks to his true leprechaun size and is blasted out of the gym to Lake Erie. Kyle retrieves his coin and the gym is suddenly full of celebrating people as the school has just made history and won the state championship for the first time ever. We move to the Heritage Festival where Kyle is performing an Irish step dance, and upon finishing, he speaks about his pride in his heritage and reveals the beauty of America, that we are a people from all around the world, and they break out into song. This land is your land.
That's not what you wrote.
That's
here.
not what I wrote. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. This land was made for you and me.
I was like, this is what.
Man, I was so on it, and then I lost it. It happens. This is a real podcast, okay? We don't do none of that fake stuff.
No fake stuff here.
We don't go back and edit out the mistakes. Apparently, when we're writing either. But when you when you finish writing an hour before you're supposed to record,
or
it took me 2 days to write that.
Or if you finish writing 30 minutes after you were supposed to start recording.
That happens too, I guess. Oh, well.
It's fine.
We're here. Right on. Well, what is your favorite scene in this movie? Do you have one favorite scene?
I have multiple favorites.
I have a couple, but I think I have one.
I think we
that I would that I like to talk
You
about.
start. You start.
No,
then.
you.
No, you.
No, me. I don't know. One of my favorite scenes is probably, I don't know why, but it's the whole scene where they're in the green convertible, and it's raining. It's actually like the whole sequence after the tire blows, basically from the moment the tire blows until they determine to get going again. I just love all of that. My favorite part is when Bonnie is like, it can't get any worse, and then it starts raining.
Yeah.
And then later they're sitting in the car all lamenting about the situation, and he's like, please don't say it can't get any worse because it might.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, I just really loved her speech there where she's like, guys,
she's like, the whole point of coming to America was to have freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we all came here.
To make your own luck.
Yeah, to make your own luck.
Yeah. And the Irish had it hard when they got here. The African Americans had it harder when they got here.
There was a line that Russell said.
Yeah, it's because she's talking about how the Irish came and they didn't get paid.
They weren't paid enough
for their work.
And then Russell just pops in and he goes, at least they were paid.
Yeah.
And I was like,
let's just toss that nugget in there.
Yeah.
Because Irish had it rough, but come on now.
Other people had it rougher.
Yeah. That is probably my favorite scene in the movie. Yeah. And I don't know what exactly it is other than just that
it's like
America.
It's like, I think it's probably because it starts out as they're all sad, and then it's like, shut up, let's get it together and make this better.
Yeah, that's fair. Thing. I like that.
Yeah.
That's probably it. So that's my favorite scene.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's your turn. Go.
Okay,
No. Okay.
Ironically, it's with Seamus when he's like, my father's from Cleveland, and he's like,
yeah.
And then it shrinks. That's his reaction is just so funny and makes me giggle every time.
Yeah, I made a mistake and I paused at that moment to type because I was like, okay, it's getting ahead of where I'm typing. Okay. And I paused it. And that made me stare at the screen for a little bit during this shrinking phase. And it becomes extremely obvious when you pause there that the dudes who are surrounding him are not looking at him at all. Like, obviously, he's on a separate plate. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible. So, like, he's on a separate layer from a editing standpoint. But, like, they are looking, like, behind him. Like, the eyes don't line up with where they should be looking at him. Yeah. And so I thought that was really funny. It's like epic.
Hey, for 2001, it was pretty good.
It's still probably better than the CGI 7:10 split we got out of Alley Cat Strike, but hey, it's been 2 years. So yeah. Do you have a least favorite scene? Maybe one that doesn't quite. You're like, I don't know if that was strictly necessary.
I don't know. One thing that. Just because I have, like, a weird texture and, like, food thing. Like, with Quince, I was like, ew, the transition into her mouth was disgusting. Yeah. So, like, the scene when they throw the corned beef and cabbage, it's just yucky to me.
That's fair.
But that's just, like, it still plays a part in the movie, and it's fine. But it's just, like...
See... I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess, because if it was not for the corned beef and cabbage, they don't run into that thing in the alley that makes the tire explode. Right. So I guess it does serve a purpose. Yeah.
It just looks gross, and like they play it in slow motion too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's my least favorite. It's just something I didn't find enjoyable.
That's fair. Yeah. I think for me, there was a lot of walking scenes between the house and the school. That I didn't feel like were super necessary. I think the one where he finds the dollar bill and it gets washed away, like that one makes sense because it calls back to the day before when he found the $10 bill. Yeah. But this time he doesn't get to keep the money because it gets washed away. Yeah. And that's just showing that, like, okay, yeah, bad luck's about to happen. Yeah. But I feel like they were walking between the house and the school a lot more than we needed it to happen. And it's not like it was my least favorite. It's just like, I don't know, we maybe could have tightened it up a little bit, not having that. I'm going to understand that they got from the house to the school somehow. Right. Yeah.
Whether they walked there, bus, teleported, they got there.
Oh, and then there's the random other bit where they totally abandoned their car, the Ford. Yeah. The red Ford at the chip factory. Yes. And they never acknowledge it again.
Yep. It's just... that car is gone.
It died. It's gone. We're done. And then I was also confused because there were several moments where I couldn't tell if that was actually the final for the basketball and if they were the champions or if that was the semifinal and this championship was still to happen. Right. I'm pretty sure. I wrote it out that I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the championship.
But I don't remember them actually specifically saying it.
I'm pretty sure they do.
Maybe they do. I don't know. I watched it 3 times. It was the first time I've watched the DCOM 3 times. So I don't know how I missed it still, but I don't doubt that I did.
I think they do. Because Russell's dad says something about it, I think.
Okay. I'll take your word for it because I can't remember it. Yeah. But that's fun.
Another favorite one real quick. Yeah. Is at the end when Mr. O'Reilly and Bonnie are talking after the game and her dad comes up. And he's like, what are you doing? You should be studying. And, and Mr. O'Reilly's like, well, she's going to be an intern at the chip factory, but we need her to play a sport. And he's like, well, you were going to do basketball, remember? And she's like, yes. Yeah. Yes, I was.
Okay. It's funny that you mentioned that because after I finished writing everything, I realized that I did not incorporate any of Bonnie's basketball storyline into the writing. And that, I guess, also made me realize, like, it was a neat little thing to have in the storyline, but it was also, like...
It was just, like, another...
The only thing it did was show that Bonnie is not just an academic. She wants to play sports, and it's not her fault she's not playing sports, which I can appreciate, but I also didn't feel like it was a critical part of the story.
It wasn't, like...
So, it was kind of like I would call it, like, a C storyline. Yeah. It was like the A story and the B story. I call it a C, where it exists, and it's... cute and it's fun, but it's not strictly necessary.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily move the story along.
Yeah, I would say the story moves it along rather than it moving the story along. Yes, but it's cool. I like it in there, but yeah. Right on. Yeah. Okay, cool. Second to last question that we ask on this show: how did it hold up?
I think it held up pretty well.
I would say it held up pretty well too. Aside from leprechauns.
Leprechauns, yes.
I think if there were leprechauns, we would know.
We would know. I'm pretty sure we probably would be leprechauns.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, that would explain
That would explain why we're all so short.
Yeah, I suppose so. And it's from, well, I was going to say it's from mom's side, but granddad is 6 foot. So, and I would say like separating that, the storyline about heritage and like America is beautiful because it's celebrate. We're from all over the place.
Yeah.
Still love that today.
I love that.
I think that held up very well, and it's a great message.
Yes.
Right on. Rating out of 5 stars. I don't know why I just went with an Australian accent. I need to go to bed. I have to work in 2 hours. So
3.5.
3.5?
Yeah.
I'll give it the 3. Well, I kind of want to give it a 4 just because Irish, but.
Every time I give a rating, you're like, nah. You always go half up or half down from whatever I give the rating.
Sorry, we can do 3.5. It's fine.
Rewatch every single one, just the ending. And every time I give it, you go, let's go up or let's go down.
Pardon me for liking to be contrary.
Last week I said 4 and you went 3.5. And I went, what?
This will give me 3.5. It's fine.
We can give it 4.
I just like to be contrary. I don't know.
What fun
is giving it a
you give it? So
what fun is giving it a rating if you don't argue about it and then I win anyway? I promise next time you can just have the rating. Whatever you pick is what we'll give it.
Pinky promise.
Pinky promise. On not live
on
television.
Pinky.
But
It's on video.
Yes.
And recording.
Assuming I don't cut it out.
You said you don't edit this.
Got me. Oh boy. I don't know what's going on anymore. Okay. That's it. Okay.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us today, everyone. I've been Noah.
And I've been Marci.
We are going to be, Adriana and I will be going live on Monday night at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. And we're going to be breaking down all of the transportation methods in Walt Disney World and how you can get from point A to point B. All the different ways you can get from place to place.
Intriguing.
And then we're going to play a little game because that's what we do on Mondays. And then if you're a listener, that will be available on Tuesday morning at 6 a.m., assuming I actually record this time, because last week and the week before I did not, and I had to download it off of YouTube and then redo it as a
podcast, as
MP3 to upload it. And it took me 2 days because I got sick in the middle of doing all that. So hopefully I'll remember to do it right this time.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And then we will, be doing a live game night on Wednesday this time because, I didn't last time because I was sick.
Yeah.
And then, next week, Marci and I are going to be discussing Hounded, which is one neither of us seem to really remember much about at all. Aside from the fact
dog involved.
I do know there's a dog involved. I kept thinking that it was the one that Kyle Massey was in.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, first of all, this is way too early for it to be Kyle Massey. And then I was scrolling and saw that one is called Life is Rough.
Yes.
And I'm like, almost the same thing, but very much different.
If I'm slowly remembering this movie.
Okay.
I believe he gets a dog and there's some sort of science experiment that turns the dog into a human. And he has to figure out how to reverse it so that he's back to a dog.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
We'll find out.
We'll go
week.
with that. Yeah. And then...
if I'm right, I'm going to text you tonight.
Okay. Sounds good. Marci's going to watch it tonight. I'm not responsible for notes this time, so I'll probably watch it like Thursday morning.
Fair.
We look forward to it every week, guys. We hope you do too. So until next Friday, let the wonder take hold.